So today we're actually going to be talking about one of my all-time favorite series shows, okay? And of
Yes.
course, it is Charmed. Now this one will be season 1, episode 1, okay? So this is going to be a scene by scene spoiler talk and just my overall opinions of my favorite show ever. I've seen all seasons of his 8 seasons. I've seen all, don't like 7 or 8 much,
Woo,
but I'm going to
child.
be giving my opinions and thoughts. But before we get into this, do not forget to one, leave a comment down below, and also like and subscribe. Now, let's get into it. Okay. So, Season 1, Episode 1. This one is called Something Wicca This Way Comes. For people who don't know, this is essentially about 3 young women who find out that they are witches, okay? And they find out that their family, they come from a long line of witches and whatnot, and that now they have to save the world, okay? One demon at a time, okay? So this was actually aired on October 6th, 1998. But now let's get into it. So it starts out, it's a dark and stormy night, okay? And we go and we skip to like this blonde lady. She's in her apartment with her cat. She's lighting these candles with her fingertip, and she's just like and then you have the whole majestic kind of mystical kind of music that is playing. It's really nice how they go ahead and do it. And then we see a man, he's like creeping outside her window, and I'm like, who's this? We have a dude who's outside, just creeping outside her window, okay? Then she starts doing her eyes are dead, man. She's doing her little chants while she's, lighting her candles and all that. So then this guy who was just creeping outside her window appears in her apartment. And then she was like, oh, what are you doing here? So I'm like, oh, okay, so she knows him. And then he goes and he kills her. I'm like, what? Okay. So obviously this is somebody that she knows. This is, I don't know if it was a boyfriend, whoever. He just goes and kills her. I'm like, oh my goodness. So then we go and cut to the Hollywells, okay? And we have one of our main characters, Piper, the middle sister. She's coming in because, obviously it's raining and all that. It's nighttime. She's coming in. She got the umbrella and everything. And Prue is there. And, they start going back and forth because Piper, she was supposed to be at home at a certain time. She wasn't supposed to be going to Chinatown and getting other stuff and doing all this other stuff. And Prue's like, yo, I got things I gotta do with my own, girl. I can't just be doing things that are your responsibilities, okay? We're not having that.
Say
So we
that.
find out that Piper is in the restaurant business, and she had to go and make a certain type of food, for taste testing to see, okay, you got the stuff that we looking for. We want you. She ended up not getting a job, but she has a new job that she is looking for perspective for. All right. So she mentions to Prue, she's like, yeah, my boyfriend Jeremy, he sent this nice port over, and oh, this is going to definitely get me the job, right? That's what she's hoping for. So she's hoping to be like just regular chef, but I was kind of getting the fact of like maybe it was like head chef, or not head, but like right under the person who's all the way at the top. So then Prue, she was just going through the old stuff that's up in the house, because it's just her and Piper there. And she goes and sees an old Ouija board that they had. Okay. And an inscription on there, it says, the power of 3 will set you free. So Piper brings up Phoebe. Okay.
Oh
Phoebe is
boy.
the third sister. And you see that Prue, she's just like, oh, this girl, she has no sense of the future. She's always broke, this and that, and the third. Okay. So she was just like, I don't want to hear about that girl, okay? This girl, like, she can't talk to anybody and all this later for her. So then they
Girl,
go and,
bye.
they leave the room. We see that the Ouija board starts moving on its own. And then we get our credits, okay? So now we're back into the show after the credits. And we go and cut to a police investigation that's going on. And the lady who from earlier died in her apartment, got murdered. That's who we are talking about, okay? That's who they found. The police officers found. They said that she was in her mid to late 20s and she's dead. We get introduced to Andy Trudeau and Daryl. Okay. And these two, I love these two going back and forth with each other. Because it's in some ways like fire and ice with each other. So Andy, he's over here thinking like, okay, I'm thinking this chick was into some witchcraft because I was doing some looking, and I think that's what's going on. Meanwhile, Daryl, he's one of those like, I'm not doing supernatural anything. It is what it is. It's just cut and dry. We're not going to say, oh, with this witchcraft and this and that. Nope. If there's evidence of this, then there's evidence of this. It was a gunshot wound or it was a knife stabbing. Boom, that's it. Well, what about an aftermath? Later for that, it was a regular knife, So he doesn't want any parts of it, okay? So then we're introduced to this guy named Jeremy Burns, and he's a reporter, and he's saying, well, this is the third stabbing in 3 weeks or whatever. And he's like, what's going on? How come all these women are dying? And these young women, what do they have in common? What's happening? And they're just like, yo, I don't know. That's what we're trying to figure out. We don't know. We don't know what's going on. So then we go back to the Hollywell Manor. You go and see the power is off. I mean, there's no power at all. Okay. So Piper and Prue, they're talking. I mean, when you have no electricity, no power, then it's like, okay, what else do we do? Especially in these times in the 90s, we're going to be doing a lot of talking. Okay. So Piper, she then drops a bomb on Prue. She drops a bomb on me, baby. So she goes and tells her, she's like, well, our sister Phoebe. She was like, yeah, girl, yeah, what about her? She was like, well, I mean, she left New York, and I mean, she gonna be here. I mean, she told me a couple weeks ago, but, I didn't tell you. And Prue's like, wait. Prue's like, wait, what? Wait, you knew for weeks and you didn't tell me? She said, you know how you be, girl. I was like, come on, really? Y'all gonna tell her? So then it's like, okay, well, when's she gonna be here? Ding ding, hey y'all, it's Phoebe. And then she's just like, I know that she is not here right now. Okay, so she was livid. Okay, so you find out that Prue and Phoebe have not spoken to each other for months. Okay, Piper and Phoebe were the only two that were in contact. So Prue was like, I don't want anything to do with her. So you then find out that Phoebe was accused of possibly touching, sleeping, whatever you want to insert, with Prue's man, Roger, or her man at the time, Roger. Okay, so that's what was going on. So that's why she's like, you sleaze, you little slut. She's like, no, I don't want anything to do with you. You over here messing with my man. That's off limits. And Phoebe's like, I didn't do it. I'm gonna be real. I honestly think Phoebe was telling the truth. Okay, looking at everything, looking back, I'm like, I just don't see her messing with your man like that. I mean, this is your man. You know what I mean? It's not like some like old prospective guy. I mean, this is your dude. You know what I mean? I just don't see that happening. You know what I mean? So those two start beefing and they separate. And then Piper later comes up to Phoebe's room and she's like, girl, I know you hungry. Okay. She's like, let's go and sit down and let's talk a little bit. And essentially they were saying that because their mother died, and the reason why they got the house is because the house was willed to them because their grandmother died too. So it was just them. They don't have any parental figures or anything like that around them, even though they're older. But Piper was saying to Phoebe, like, essentially because Prue is the oldest, she kind of had to sacrifice her childhood for us, to help take care of us. She had to be that big sister role. She had to be more than a big sister, but she had to be really a mother, and she had to do it in a lot of these different ways that maybe Graham's was lacking in, you know what I mean? So it was very interesting to see. And it's like, well, that's why she's so like, it has to be this way. I got to do it like this because this is what she just had to deal with, So I thought that was pretty interesting. So then we go and skip back to the detectives, Andy and Daryl. Okay. And now we're seeing that there are more victims. Okay. And Andy's over here trying to convince Daryl, like, okay, you have some people who believe in UFOs. Do you? No, but you have people who believe in that stuff, right? And he was okay. You also have people who believe that they could be witches, they could be a witch, so he was like, this could be this. It may not be any like actual something tangible, supernatural thing, but it could just be, okay, these people think that they have powers and, whatever it is, they're in the cult or whatever. As we seen, the girl had fire on her finger, so we know that it's real, y'all.
Right?
We know that it is real. We know that we seen what we seen, okay? So then we have a cat that appears with the necklace with the, power 3 triquetra symbol on it. And, he's looking at it. Andy was looking at it. He was like, this is peculiar. So now we head back to the Hollywell Manor. Okay. So Piper is over here telling Phoebe how she and Jeremy met. And it was very sweet because he actually I swear, trying to get them digits. And her grandmother was in a hospital. You know what I mean? I think she passed at that time, or she was almost on her last leg. And he's over here. I mean, man, that sucks. But I mean, I want to talk sometimes. Like, dude, come on, man. So they're over here just, having girl talk and, hanging out and whatnot. And then they have the Ouija board that Prue brought out earlier. And then they're just, messing around with it. And then the thing starts moving. And Phoebe's like, oh my God, it's moving. And Piper and Prue looking like, this thing is not moving. You tripping. Girl, so then they turn around and then Piper sees that it moves. And she's like, uh-oh. She's like, Prue, get back in here, girl. She's like, this thing is moving. So then the Ouija board spelled out ATTIC. Okay, I know there's a joke in there. Okay, yeah. Okay. It spells out attic. So they're like, okay, what do we do? Piper, she was like, and I'm not... She was kind of like, she kind of had a reaction I would have had, okay, where she's like, oh, okay, I'm out. Okay, I'm not gonna be staying up in some freaky house, okay? And you got Ouija boards moving and all this. I'm out. I'm gonna go in the hotel or something. But she ended up staying. Prue was like, yo, it's nothing. She was just probably messing. She was like, no, she wasn't moving it. She was like, she probably was, whatever, because she already don't like Phoebe anyways. She doesn't trust her. So she's like, Prue's like, okay, I'm gonna go downstairs to the basement and try to mess with this generator. Piper, come with me. Phoebe's like, I'm going to the attic. So then they're like, girl, but we got others. She's like, yeah, I'm going to the attic. And then they're like, okay, good luck, because the door doesn't open. Of course, the door magically opens up and Phoebe goes in there. Because mind you, this door would not open up for months. Okay, really the entire time they had the house willed to them would not open up. So it finally opened up when Phoebe got in there. And then she seen like a little glowing thing happen up in the chest. And she sees the Book of Shadows. Okay. And this book has, all kinds of incantations and stuff like that. How to get rid of demons and all that kind of stuff. Okay. And just other mythical creatures. So Phoebe, she goes and starts reading. I'm thinking, girl, you just seen the first paper. And you're like, okay, yeah, we want the powers. Give it to us. Give us the power. Girl, you ain't gonna consult anybody. You just, nah. So she starts reading the incantation. It says, we want the power to us, sisters 3. We want the power. Give us the power. So along with other words as well. So that pretty much summons the powers to them, okay? And then right after Phoebe says that, after she reads the incantation and everything, we see there's that same guy that we seen earlier creeping outside that lady's apartment. He's creeping outside the house. And I'm like, oh no. Oh girl, what did you just do? Okay. Crazy. So now we skip to the next day. Phoebe's outside with a cup of coffee and she's just thinking, and she was saying how pretty much she was reading that book front to back. Okay. And she was saying how they have a ancestor named Melinda Warren, who had 3 powers: premonition, freezing time, and moving things telepathically and stuff like that. All right. And then she's telling Piper all this, and Piper's just like, yeah, you sound like a wacko right now. Just you do all that over there, okay? Don't involve me, girl. Okay. So before Piper leaves, she actually says, we're the protectors of the innocents. We're known as the charmed ones. She says all that. I thought it was so cute. So then we go to Prue's job, which she works at an art gallery. She goes and meets this guy that she used to, bang with and all that back in the day. And his name is Roger, the same Roger that Phoebe was accused of messing around with too. Okay. And this dude is not worth a flying rip, y'all. He ain't worth anything, okay? But he comes out or whatever, and he goes and says, yeah, I know you wanted that promotion, right? And then she's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, well, I took it. What? I mean, you didn't need it anyway. I mean, come on. Do you really want more money and a better position? I mean, come on. Who wants that? Like,
wow.
You suck, dude. So he says all that, and she's over here like, well, why are you doing all this? Is it because I stopped sleeping with you, or is it because I gave you back your engagement ring? And he's like, well, I mean, So he's a whole D-bag, you know what I mean?
Say that.
And then she's like, I'm just so mad at you. So she just leaves. She's like, forget you, dude. She turns around and leaves, and he has, where's my pen? So he has a pen that's like right here, and the ink just completely splatters all on his white shirt. He's like, what the heck is that? And you find out she did it. Okay. Miss, I don't have powers and all that, because this is what she says later on. I don't powers and all. Okay, girl. Okay. So then we go and skip to Piper having an interview for a job. So she had to make this certain meal for this guy named Chef Moore, okay? He talks it like this, and it's from a friend's and he does this and all that, okay? That fake phony baloney French accent that he got going on, even though mine sound Italian, but you know what I mean, okay? So she's almost done with this pasta brazzul or whatever it is that she's making. And then he comes and he's like, oh, time's up. And then she's like, but Chef Moore, no, a jeep. Oh, I'm sure it would be good because, you were supposed to have added the board. And she's like, oh, no. Oh, she's like, Chef Moore. And then she freezes him. And then she's like, Chef Moore? She's going like this. Fool ain't moving at all. She looking around, nothing. And she's like, well, okay, let me get my little syringe. Let me get that port. Let me put it on the food. And then he unfreezes. Okay, so now he's unfrozen, and then he eats it. He's like, oh, c'est magnifique. And she's like, yeah, what the heck happened? So he loves it. Okay, ends up giving her the job, you find out. Okay, so now we go back. So now we go back to Prue's art gallery job. Okay, and then we see Roger again. And Roger is saying, he's like, well, I helped build this company, and, I did this, and, I am just amazing. Literally copying exactly what Prue said earlier to him before she stormed off. And she was like, you know what? I'm done with you. She's like, I'm done with this place, actually. I quit. Oh, wait, you don't want to quit. I mean, she's like, no. And plus I left a whole bunch of work for you, a whole bunch of different flash drives and this and that and that and the third. So, I mean, good luck. He's like, oh, I mean, I hope you don't have office supplies in there. Trying to accuse her of stealing a pack of sticky notes and some pens. So she was just like, oh, this mother. Oh, let me just keep my composure. So she goes like that, and his tie that he has on, it starts choking him. It gets tighter and tighter, and he's like, and then he gets some scissors, and he falls out of his chair. He's like, what the heck was that? So then we go and skip back to Piper after her, successful job interview, I guess you can say, for the food. And Jeremy, her boyfriend, who we found out was a reporter, he appears and he was like, I'm happy that you got the job. She's like, I didn't tell you yet. He was like, come on, I know you. And I was like, oh, come on. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Oh, I don't know, y'all. I am a sucker for like these kind of love stories and just like these different kinds of relationships that we see on TV. I'm just, oh my God. And this series has a lot of it. And oh my goodness, I was just like, that is so sweet of you, dude. So then we skip to Phoebe, and she's riding a bike, and she has a premonition. And when she has premonitions, her vision goes black and white. Okay. So she sees these two kids about to essentially get hit by a car. So she's like, oh my goodness, what's going on? So then what she ends up doing is she sees the car coming because her premonitions. So it happens later on in the series where it could be different times, front or back. But here it was literally like a minute before. So she didn't have much time. So she just rode her bike over there to prevent them from getting hit. But she ended up injuring herself anyways and ended up in the hospital. And then that's where the next scene takes us, where Prue, you find out that her and Inspector Trudeau, Andy, and his fine self, they used to have relations back in the day up in high school and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay. These two, oh my God. And he was waiting on a doctor, for a different report for one of his people that he's doing. And she was waiting on hers for her sister. So then he says one of my favorite lines in here. He's like, can I buy you a bad cup of coffee while we wait? And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Oh my God. Andy is such, oh my goodness. He is amazing. I love him. So they're just catching up and whatnot, while they're waiting, while he's waiting for his respective person and she hers. So they're just catching up or whatever. And of course, you have the whole, you still seeing that Roger guy? And she's like, why? You checking up on me? I'm just, well, how'd you even know? I just, the words around, things happen. So is that a yes or no? So I was, oh my God, he's so, oh my God. I think his name in real life is T.W. King. Oh my goodness, I love him. Okay, girl. Ooh, forget it. So then we go and skip back to, we're at the restaurant now, okay? So Phoebe and Prue, they're talking. This is a different restaurant, not the one that Piper was working at or trying to get a job at. So you see Phoebe and Prue, they're over here talking, and Prue says, I don't have any special powers, because Phoebe told her about her premonition. She was like, well, I don't have that. That's you, girl. You did some weird stuff. That's on you. And then you see that she ordered coffee, and you see that cream was on the other side of the table, and magically the cream just slides across the table. And she's like, uh-oh. And then you see that she's looking at the cream, and the cream is getting reduced and it's filling up in the cup of coffee. So you see it's going like that, which is an interesting thing, because later on later on in the series, her powers don't work like that, but whatever, you know what I mean? But you see that, and I'm like, oh, okay. So Prue's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I do have magic. Phoebe was saying essentially how when they were in the dark about their powers, not having them, they were safer than obviously them having them, not being in the dark anymore, because now they have a target on their back. So that's what's going on. So then Phoebe and Prue, they end up going to the pharmacy because Phoebe, she just got into an accident, so she had to go and get her medication. But Prue, she was getting a migraine. She was like, I can't with this, y'all, this is just too much for me today. Okay. So she's over here in this area. She's like, with all the drugs and all the pills and all that. And she just gets mad, and then everything just like falls off the shelves. I love that scene. I thought that was so cute. We then find out that, so Phoebe was in New York, and we find out the reason why she was in New York and why she's coming back when she had no money. But she went there to look for her father, who was also in New York. Obviously, she didn't find him. At least she didn't mention that. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Sometimes it's like when you force a relationship, it's just kind of like, just just let it be, you know. I mean, why continue forcing it? For what reason? I mean, this is supposed to be your father, and if he doesn't want to have anything to do with you, then why are you pushing it? Why are you pursuing it so much? But anywho, they end up back home, and now we skip to Piper and Jeremy. Okay, they're in a taxi cab, and Jeremy, he was like, "Oh, I want to show you something special, so taxi, you know, go this way." So then they're like, she's like, "Oh, okay, whatever, cool." And then they get on this little lift, like one of those older kind of elevators looking places. They get on this lift, and then he was like, "Yeah, you know, I'm sure after you see this wonderful spectacle, I'm gonna show you that you're gonna go and run to Prue and Phoebe." And then Piper was like, "Wait, I never told you Phoebe was in town." He was like, "Oh, my bad." Then he had his knife out, right? And he was about to go kill her. And he was like, you know, I was waiting for the Grams to croak and waiting for you all to be reunited. And that's why that attic door opened up, was because it wasn't just two people in the house, but now it was three. It was all three sisters, the power of three. That's why it magically opened up once she went in there doing some searching, okay? Because it was going to open up only once those three were all together and they were ready to learn about it, you know? But then Jeremy's voice and his face becomes distorted. He starts having fire on all his fingers and stuff. And he stole the powers from these witches that were doing the little that stuff earlier. And then Piper, she freaked out. She frozen. And she's like, "Okay, I'm out." Okay. So she runs home back to the Hollywell Manor. And that's where we are now. Piper's freaking out. She goes and tells them, like, "Yo, Jeremy, he is a warlock. He's some kind of being, okay? This fool crazy. He was trying to kill me, y'all." So then they're like, "Okay, we gotta go to the Book of Shadows, go and see." They find an answer, and they make like this voodoo doll thing. They light 9 candles, they get in front of the little cauldron thing kind of thing, and then they go and like make this, it's not a voodoo doll, but it's like a doll. Then they put a rose into it essentially, and then they're like, "Okay, cool, he's dead. This thing got him. This magic works, right?" So all you see really is that he now has like thorns sticking out of him, but it didn't kill him. You know what I mean? And we know that because Phoebe has a premonition, and she was like, guys, he ain't dead, y'all." Okay, so we're not in the clear yet. So then Prue, they were like, "Okay, we're out of this house." So Prue was about to go, and Jeremy's right at the door. And they're like, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." So then she's like, "Girls, I'm gonna go and try to protect you," because I mean, she has an offensive power. The other two have defensives, but she has an offensive power, right? So she was like, "I'm gonna try to do something." And Jeremy, he was not budging from her powers. So she ran upstairs. She's like, "I'm out." Okay. So now that we're all up in the attic, they blocked the door, barricaded and everything, and then he just moves all that stuff and he incinerates the door. And they're like, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?" So then they're like, "You know what? How about the power of 3 will set us free?" So they started saying it, and then eventually he died. He was talking all that mess. He's like, "Oh, you can never kill me. I will live forever. And oh, no one can kill me. And then you did." Okay. So then that happened. And now we skip to the following day. Okay. And in this day, we see Andy and his fine self, because Prue's coming out to get the mail. We see Andy, he comes out, and he was like, "You know how I told you about that bad cup of coffee?" And Prue, she's like, "Oh, what is this? A good cup of coffee?" Because he had a coffee cup in his hand. So she was like, "Is this a good cup of coffee?" He's like, "Oh no, this is mine. But how about dinner?" And I was like, "Oh my God." And then she was like, "Oh, well, I don't know if I can do dinner because I mean, I have other things." And she's trying to make up an excuse because she's like, "But I don't know if we can date as witches because I mean, we're witches. I mean, can we date? Can we have relationships and all that?" So that's how it ends. And I'm just like, girl, girl, this man wants you. He wants you so much. And I mean, it's not like y'all don't have history. Y'all got history. You know, y'all knew each other when y'all were younger. Y'all were in high school together and all that. Y'all grew up together. Okay, so it's like y'all could, you know, make something happen over there. Okay, y'all could do a little something. Okay, release some stress. You know, but I love this episode. This is the pilot episode. Let me know if you all seen it. Are y'all charm fans? Okay, because I need some charmies over here. Okay, let me know what y'all think about this video down below. Hello, hello, hello. I hope you enjoyed the video. I would appreciate if you could leave a comment down below, and also do not forget to like and subscribe. I would also appreciate if you could support me at latricelimited.com. This is my own personal small business where I sell bath and body wellness items, such as I have bath bombs, I have soaps, candles, essential oil blends, sleep eye masks, and a whole bunch more. I'm actually going to show you 2 featured products. So this one is my candle. Okay, this is my vanilla wood wick candle. As you can see, there's wood in there, and it gives a nice crackling sound. It's like a bonfire, a campfire, but in your house, yo. Smells so freaking good. This, my sweet roses, are my top scents for me personally. I also have soap. So this one right here is this nice cool water soap that I have. It's more of a masculine, sexy scent. So I would greatly appreciate if you could go and support me. And now I hope you have a good day.